Group B. Kind of felt like, you know, it was a foregone conclusion that LGD were going to top the group, but certainly not the case.
It is so surprising and so great to see these regions that have been so close so many times.
Kagoon's gonna land, Shadow gonna try and dance out of there, but they are just gonna get straight on top as Raina getting there with a face breaker past the back line once again. And he is gonna get the eye and try and dip away. He's getting chased up with a Galio. Is there any more left here?
Oh my God!
He gets the kill, he's got mana back. There's the double kill for the Kassadin.
Unicorns go 2-0 in their group. If you're Rainbow 7, you have to take your fate in your own hands. He dives forward the shot. Huge shockwave! He gets it! Rainbow 7 from the Liga Latino America are turning it around on the LPL Sports seed. Take a flipping bow. That was beautiful.
This is not going to be the LGD that we see in the next few days. And if it is, oh, we got a problem.
This group is completely wide open.
You never know what will happen at Worlds.
The stage is set, the curtain is drawn.
没人能够预见会是这种情况。
This is the game people want to see.
新的王者诞生了
Kaboom! They lit the fuse.
你看到了吗
They're gonna win. This is it.
Welcome to Shanghai, China, host of Worlds 2020. The first 2 days have been a blessing, with no group going to expectations as we wrap out Group B, and I'm confident we've not seen the last of our play-in surprises. We have, of course, LGD carries the weight of the LPL legacy, and today it's do or die, sink or swim, as they are currently 0-2. Here we see them in V3 through the eyes of the Oppo cam, making sure you catch all of the action from Worlds 2020. I'm Machine, back with my play-in posse, Amazing and Yamato, to wrap up Group B. I'm actually doing a bit of a Yamato cosplay today.
All right.
What do you think? You know, I saw this in the shop and I was like, this is actually the closest I'll come to looking as cool as Yamato. So everyone give me some appreciation, compliment me, fuel me. But other than that, my narcissism aside, Yamato and Amazing are with me for the ride. For the next 2 days, we'll only be seeing the competitors from each group. Tomorrow, you'll catch the remainder of Group A, where TCL's Supermassive launch themselves into first next to Team Liquid. And those two will kick off the final day of Group A tomorrow. But today, we've got Group B, not Group 5. That would be unusual. Where to be continued, there's lots of surprises. LPL's LGD are still winless. And I think that's probably where we should start, isn't it, fellas? You know, we heard Raz, the little summary from day one, like, this can't be the LGD for the rest of it. Otherwise, it's a problem, and it seems it's a problem.
I mean, I sure hope not. I sure hope that they're going to bring in the high level today. But honestly, we have to adjust our expectations when talking about them, because they're supposed to be a fourth seed, and they're a fourth seed. They're playing against first seeds of other regions. They're playing against first seeds of the LGL and CIS region. Like everyone is supposed to be at the top of the table, and then suddenly they're coming in as a fourth seed. So it's supposed to be competitive. It's supposed to be Worlds, and it's supposed to be something where they have to actually work hard in order to get to the next stage.
I haven't heard your take on it. Do you believe the play-ins level is higher than we've seen before?
I think for sure. I think naturally, as regions get more resources around them, regions that have crossover in terms of practice, the CIS region practice with the LEC teams, the Turkish region too, LGL practice with some of the Korean teams. There's definitely crossover there, and culture has an impact. Even though they have smaller play bases, you tend to get these diamonds in the rough that manage to climb up from the dirt.
Yeah, and diamonds in the rough is a pretty damn good segue into our next one, turning to a surprise contender, PSG Talon from the PCS. They suffered their first loss to UOL yesterday, but today, Unified is back in the bot lane. So what does this mean? I assume removing D, he was having his fair share. I mean, he was keeping up, but when Jhin was gone, it got awkward. We've now got rid of D, bringing in the Unified.
Yeah, you can't expect too much from a coach, and his Jhin play was actually pretty good.
Exactly.
But bringing in someone else like that has been with the roster for such a long amount of time should actually bring up the level in the bot lane, especially when they come to synergetic bot lanes. And Yamada talked about this in the read-through. He talked about the Kalista Thresh that really requires a lot of synergy. They can play that. They can play Ashe lanes. They can play other lanes. So I think that in itself should increase their champion pool overall.
I think to add to it as well, I think PSG have shown that they rely on a set few of champions in order to deliver, because they have this issue that they haven't played together. So they get unified around specific ultimates like the Bardo ultimate, the Ornn ultimate. Now, with Unified bringing in more champions to it, I think they can definitely be more flexible in draft.
Yeah, and that leaves the team that did deliver them their first loss. It's the pride of the CIS. It's the Unicorns of Love. Now, you two were worried about how clean their play would be on the world stage, but is it safe to say that you've dismissed those woes and worries now?
Honestly, I feel like Unicorns of Love, my expectations are as high as the team that they are able to beat at this stage. The best team in the group that they are in currently is PSG. They beat them. If they're going to proceed into the group stage, which I expect at this point, the sky is the limit. But until they beat, they tend to level up with it. And that's my expectation for Unicorns of Love for now. But the drafting is crazy, and I love what I see so far.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at some of this. This was the level 1 invade. You could see some calculation that you were surprised to see, both of you at the desk.
Yeah, I was really surprised. And we heard Sheepy talk about it in an interview where they actually pre-planned this whole level 1 because of the Sion pick. They understood that there was going to be a level 1 invade. They decided to lane swap to a certain extent, have to run a match the Sion on the bottom lane, then counter this 5-man invade with a 4-man invade, and then with an Ornn TP. Like, all of these steps coming in, it's really deep thinking, and from a wildcard region, technically speaking, this is a really high level of play.
I think it's so important as well, considering it's a single round robin, that teams have enough energy to put so much effort into researching these teams. Definitely makes a difference, because in the match against PSG as well, they predicted the Echo pick to come out, they had the Renekton first pick, they completely covered Hanabi's champion pool, and then they came in with the Swain into all of these melee champions that they once again said after the interview that they expected.
Yeah.
So good stuff from Unicorns of Love.
As my old DT teacher used to say, Mr. Twig, shout out to you, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. That's what he was saying. Mr. Twig. He was a woodworking teacher called Mr. Twig. Not even a joke.
Really?
Yeah, it's absurd. And I'm not even joking, he did that martial art where you whack someone with a stick. It's got a name. He showed us videos to intimidate us. You know what I mean? Sticks.
Twig using his twig.
That one. Yeah. Either way, not only did UOL come in with a game plan, they came in with a never say die mindset, as No Man's Kassadin nabbed our Red Bull play of the day versus V3 Esports. And this one is spicy. This is Vindaloo hot.
Yeah. This is definitely the reason why I thought of the comparison of G2, because playing against them in the LEC, Amazing knows as well that they kind of steal away victories. Like, they're behind here. It looks like a rough situation. Everyone's dying because the preparation for Rift Herald was horrible. But then the continuation is just Kassadin doing illegal things and just outplaying and then ending the situation with a Rift Herald in his pocket and a kill, and Camille also coming in to kill the Caitlyn afterwards.
Genuine question. Do we fault V3 for chasing a Kassadin with a millimeter of health?
I mean, kind of, but not, only after seeing what happened afterwards. So nothing to fault here, to be fair.
Just No Man's doing No Man's things. That's fantastic. And that's just a taste of what UOL are doing, and clearly convincing our analysts. Yamato's got on Pip to take the group. I imagine a similar sentiment from you on.
I'm in the same boat, yeah. Especially, I don't think there's going to be any contention for them because of the strength they've shown in terms of preparation. So every team has to fear them, and they're not going to coast. They're actually going to try every single game.
All right. Well, the silver-blooded UOL. We'll be diving into some of the shakeups UOL have brought into pick and bans. But before we do that, let's tune into today's Bose sound of the game, which gives us a listen in to yesterday's action in Shanghai.
We cannot help you. Look here. We're disconnected. It's a so bad position. Okay, it's fine. I can maybe ult here.
Oh, they keep going here?
I'm really low.
I can shield you.
Wait, can you kill?
Yeah.
I'm coming around.
Yeah.
I'm here too.
Wait, I'm fucking J-Ball.
Let's go behind him back. Go behind.
Yeah. Guys, slowly.
Did I go past? No. Kill him.
Kill him.
I'm fine. No flash.
Flash flash. Here, EQ out. If we on out.
I have zeros.
Yeah, I'm Evan.
Here. I'm gonna walk around him.
Baron.
I will just push. Okay.
I want to get TP too.
Okay, so the first thing that's standing out to me is I think you highlighted it, or someone forced me to listen to Core JJ after the first Red Bull listen-in, or the sounds of the game. But regardless, it is interesting to see how calm and collected they are in those team fights. It's very stark contrast to when I listen into Counter-Strike comms anyway.
For sure.
It's all about keeping it cool, calm, collected, and clear, and quick to communicate.
I like the fact that Impact has evolved from top die to kill 'em all.
Kill them all, kill them all, kill them all.
Modern evolution.
It's very specific, very easy to achieve, perhaps, but in just 2 days of play, we've already had considerable shakeups to the league as we knew it, specifically in the bot lane, and I want to start with what UOL broke out. Is this the rise of the bot lane mage? We just saw the Orianna shooing it down into the lane swap, so is it time?
I think it depends on the situation. Like the Orianna came into bottom side, which shows flexibility because they wanted to pick the Kassadin. Yesterday we also saw the Swain, which was so powerful against all of the melee champions. There are specific niche picks that can work against specific set of champions. The weakness of it, of course, is that you leave yourself exposed to potential no magic mantle buys or Mercury buys, so you are definitely on a timer.
And amazing. Anything to add to bot lane mages? Are we going to start seeing more and more, or is it as specific as Yamato highlights?
Yeah, I do think it's this specific. It entirely depends on your jungle champion pool too, and like a mid-lane champion pool, because if you prioritize a lot of AD mids, I think then it becomes a thing. But I do think, as Yamato put it, you put yourself on a timer, especially coming in against like the Caitlyn's of the world, the Ashes of the world. There's not going to be much scaling coming in, so I do think it's going to be limited to specific, honestly, like people like Gadget who are really experts of that bot lane match meta.
Well, he certainly looked comfortable on it, but then there's also the duo of Twitch and Rakan, which has been a menace of its own, at least for Team Liquid. Is this something we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of, Rakan? I mean, I've seen Twitch fall flat and look as useful as wet cardboard.
So I do think in terms of Rakan, as a counter pick to certain picks in the meta, like maybe the Braum, even like depending on whether or not teams prioritize it, it's still going to be prioritized. The Twitch, however, I think as teams progress and they actually understand like the specifics of the champion, have it be more of a late game pick instead of this pick only champion that LGD is playing it as, I think people are going to prioritize it more because this late game, especially after the buffs, is insane.
So when you were telling me, you were saying it's good when it's with like a TF or something. Is that just because he has no lockdown and so having someone that can just appear out of nowhere and stun him gives Twitch enough time to do his jibbly-bibblies?
Like the TF connection that Team Liquid did was more about covering up the fact that he has a weaker early game. I think later down the line, you need to make sure that you have a composition that can team fight well. I felt like Supermassive had a very good composition prepared to the 1-2 of Mad Lions because they brought out the Wukong, which in reality, you know, something that you haven't seen or processed, but when you see it in action, Wukong, just a monkey eating a rat, that just looks pretty straightforward when you see it after the fact.
Yeah, like kind of a Planet of the Apes type vibe or something along those lines. So, yeah, so Twitch did get gobbled up, but amazing. You got anything to add to that pile?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so
good.
But the Rakan thing, I'll keep an eye on it. So, okay, I've got another one for you then, amazing. Help me out with this one, because, in fact, she's right here on our screens. It's Caitlyn.
Is she?
This was an AD I thought we'd be seeing a lot of. Turns out she's been nothing but absent.
Yeah, so what probably happened is, first of all, like she got a small nerf, and then afterwards, like people adjusted her to a certain extent, and she was already being adjusted to while she was OP. So when teams understood that Ashe is a potential counter pick, and that honestly team fight scenarios in which case you can lock down the Caitlyn from the side, for example, with a flank, she's become weaker and weaker. So I think it's just a natural evolution of the meta to a certain extent, and Kate getting an extra nerf that makes her being less prioritized than usual.
Base attack damage reduced. Interesting. So just a straight level 1 feels worse as well. Interesting stuff. So no Caitlyn, but I am excited to see what champs get broken out as we look at our schedule for the day. We've got V3 Esports challenging LGD Gaming to kick things off with 3 more matchups before any potential tiebreakers as we wrap up all of Group B today. Looking at that one, I have to say, Rainbow 7 against Unicorns of Love is the most flamboyant and exciting I've ever seen 2 esports teams head-to-head. We've got the Rainbows against the Unicorns. Outside of that, though, we do get to see that LGD UOL game at the end of the day. I assume that's one of the ones to watch.
Yeah, probably. I think it completely depends on the first one. If LGD come in form, if LGD drop a game against V3, then we might just be looking forward to a potential stomping in Game 4.
Yeah, so this is just going to be, is this Des just going to be singing the praises of UOL all the time, it seems? The scene is set for that direction.
We'll probably do, but I also hope that we're going to sing some praises for LGD because we need them to be competitive. I want this group to be not ending on a low note. I want it to end on a high note.
I mean, I'll tell you now, I've seen the way the Chinese forums talk about LGD at the moment. I mean, I saw the frying pan into the fire. I really hope for LGD's sake they avoid some of that one. But looking towards Game 1, we've got the hometown favourites, LGD, who are on the verge of a shocking exit. Today it is do or die for them. So what on earth needs to change? I know you guys have been getting real, flustered about their objective control, but can we kind of explain it like I'm 5? Explain it like I'm bronze.
Okay, so basically, when you contest an objective, you have to come in with a plan. You have to prioritize, hey, do we want to go for the fight? Do we want to go for the objective? And what I've seen with LGD is that they spread out their members way too far. The team comps don't quite allow for the streamlined gameplay, where you just hit the front line, because they usually pick picks that are not good front to back. So what this this means is actually that they have to play the team fights in a difficult kind of manner, come in from flanks, and they're not doing that. So I would like them to return to that simplicity that PSG is playing with, where they're just going for streamlined comms.
Yeah, for sure. I think it ties up with the draft, as Maurice mentioned now. I think the Camille might be tougher to execute. It might be something that higher-level teams can do. Snowballing with the volleyballer also requires a lot of finesse. Just back to the simplicity, it all comes down to our boy with the mustache and a hammer. Just pick Ornn, engage champions.
I was like, sweet!
There's a lot of people with mustaches, I guess. Yeah. But it all... To the point, you know, just pick team fight compositions to cover up for the fact that your team fighting is horrible.
And so in the essence of keep it simple, stupid, the KISS acronym that I live my life by, let's bring up the draft against Rainbow 7, because I want to be able to just breathe in how they could have made this easier for themselves. How do we make this as least complex and easy to execute as possible?
All right, first of all, you have to stream the com. What I mean by that is basically like decide a side to play towards. Look, you have the Twitch weak early game, you want to play around it. You have the Camille somewhat weak early game, but scales pretty well, you also want to play around her. And then you have the TF to facilitate that. If you do that, you have two sides to play to. Maybe just select one side and then pick the Ornn, for example, on the top lane. Maybe another tank, maybe a Cyan pick, whatever it is. And then the team comp is a lot easier to execute for the team.
So just by having a tank that you don't have to worry about, one lane you don't have to be concerned about, it enables you to channel all your energies into one direction and get them chunky and...
Yeah, basically.
Okay, there you go. I'm learning League of Legends with you guys at home. Do you think the Japanese representatives V3 Esports can genuinely exploit this, though? Like, or is it going to be LGD falling on their own sword in this case?
I think if you look at the matchup between LGD and the two other teams that they lost, it just came down to execution around the mid game. I think when it comes to the early game, maybe LGD has some chances to, you know, cause enough bleeding to take it home and to skip that portion of the game that they are so horrible in. But if V3 look at those matches just coming with discipline, I think they have good chances to take this game.
Yeah, we've got the head-to-head behind us as well. Amazing. Yeah. I know Bugi's been a name at the tip of your tongue every time V3 is brought up.
Yeah, because his early game aggression together with his lanes playing for priority is really, really just interesting to see. And I think it kind of rivals what Peanut is usually trying to do. What I've seen with Peanut, though, is that his early game has been pretty fine, but his mid to late game is actually where his issues lie, where he selects wrong team fights, he plays the game in a weird way, and I think that has to be cut out. But I think this early game matchup is actually going to be something to look forward to, and I do think there's going to be a lot of clashes coming in.
Ooh, early jungle action, more from Peanut as well. We saw him pull out the Lilia. That was a little disappointing, and I was going to ask whether or not we're going to be seeing more from her, but I don't know whether that's a relevant conversation. They're not making eye contact with me. I assume it means it's not. But that does mean we can start talking about predictions instead, though, because I know you've got something there. Yeah, I know you hate it.
You're forcing us to predict this
but
game.
I've given you a warning. And now I look to you, Maurice, because I know that you've already got something up in the chamber.
I want LGD. I mean, I'm predicting LGD to win. This is the comeback.
That's with the heart, not the head, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I think they're going to make a comeback and start it right now.
And Yamato, if anyone embodied head over heart, it would be you. So what are you saying?
Even with that in mind, it's tough to make a very, very accurate prediction. Yeah. It's just best of ones are very volatile and anything can happen. And to make a prediction on paper, LGD still look better with what they've shown in the entire season, with what they've shown in this tournament. No. Yeah. So I can lean either way, honestly. But
okay.
If I'm forced to make a choice,
for anyone wondering what that was, that's Yamato sitting on a fence and his bottom starting to get sore. With the timer nearing 0, let's send it over to our homies. Holding it down in LA, it's Captain Flowers and Raz to get us into game 1.
It's a tough prediction to
make.
That's
tough. Yeah, that was brutal.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. My name is Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns. I am joined once again by Barento Razzleplasm Muhammad, and we will be guiding you through the first couple of games here today. Raz, are you ready for some action? Because the team representing the LPL better be ready for some action here today.
Yeah, it felt like people on the desk weren't ready for it as well, in terms of like being able to nail down who you think will win.
Oh, yeah.
Because after the last 2 games that LGD has had, yeah, it's... You want to be in the hedge. You want to split the hedge because it feels really weird for the 4-seed team from the LPL to be performing so poorly in the tournament. Me, I expect LGD to win. But at the end of the day, it comes back to what I felt like Amazing said on the desk. I think Amazing made a great point where you really have to come down to the simplicity of the compositions, right? The comps that they've been rolling so far really needed them to be on side lane first in the early portions of the game. And then when they went towards not even necessarily the soul for these dragons, but like soul point, I felt like their preparation was poor.
Oh, yeah.
So just going straight for the team fight comps that actually just got them here to begin with. Like the compositions that beat IG domestically, just this outright team fight, 5-man roll up and objectives. I want to see that from LGD.
Yeah, we were talking before this, and I remember I went back and watched the VODs earlier today from both of the games that LGD lost so far. And for everybody at home who might have missed it or don't remember the exact details, both of those games were in a winnable state for LGD, and both games hit their breaking point at the exact same moment. They were down 1-2 Drakes. The third Drake for their opponents was spawning, and they enter into a bad fight that they didn't have to take, and it gives their opponents the opportunity to stabilize and move towards their own victory. LGD has got to stop making these mistakes around these third Drakes for their opponent if they want to be able to come back and win this. This is the only winless team in this group right now, and they're going up against V3, tied at 1-1. V3, of course, having a good game against Rainbow 7, and a not-so-good game against Unicorns of Love. So still looking to see exactly what all this team's capable of as well as we're into the draft, and it's Twisted Fate, Orianna, Graves, Nidalee, Sion, and of course Lilia all banned away.
This is interesting because I would have expected there to be a Lucian ban from V3. In fact, they've banned it both times that they've played. I wanted them not to do that because in terms of just like Chinese super server solo queue, Ace has, from what I've seen, the highest Lucian win rate, 75%. Like he excels on the champion. And so I really wanted them, especially if they're on blue side, to first pick the champion. Looks like they're prioritizing the Ashe, and they're baiting xiye to go for it. So I still think Lucian is an insane pick. And there are so many AP junglers that allow him to thrive in the lane and have that damage spread to be secured. So we'll have to see what they go for here as the Kindred gets locked in here by LGD, yeah.
Kindred locked in along with that Ornn first pick.
There we go.
On the side of LGD. You want some team fighting? Ornn is a cornerstone team fight.
Yeah, they got their team fight. They got exactly what they've been looking for. In fact, if I look through my notes here, LGD, yeah, Peanuts win rate on Kindred. 9 games, 7 wins.
That's pretty good.
This is one of his best champions. So he's just going straight towards comfort here. LGD just not making it a secret that they want a team fight.
And on the other side, man, we got some pick potential with an Ashe first pick and then Zoe following that one up. This team has the ability to find somebody out of position and potentially blow them up before the Lamb's Respite comes in to save them now. Let's see what else they're going to round this out with before the next part of the bans comes through. Thinking about a Lee Sin here for Bugi, and with the timer running out, that's locked in.
All right, I like to see this here from Bugi. It's one of his better champions as well. So at the end of the day, I mean, if you look towards what V3 has in their composition, it's a straight pick. It's forcing LGD to go for a lot of cleanse here, and that's what I expect from both xiye and Kramer. And even then, if they coordinate well enough before objectives, then I think they set themselves up to succeed. So I think it's a really easy composition here for V3 before objectives. Anytime that LGD want to just roll up as a squad, a lot of stuff's going to be pelted at them. Sleepy Trouble Bubble, Zoe Q, and then, of course, you're going to be expecting Ashe and Chanto Crystalero to come at you as well.
Yes, sir. And we've got Syndra locked in for xiye here, so a lot of burst power with that mid lane option. Looking at what's coming through on the bans in the second half of the draft, the name of the game, my friend, is support, particularly those of the engage persuasion. It's Thresh and Leona, both banned out here, stopping some hard CC options from either team. Last ban of the draft coming through here for that side of LGD will be the Set.
I wonder if the Tahm Kench is going to be banned here, because if you're going into the composition that V3 have, I would expect for Mark to actually go towards that. You have enough. You haven't, like, look, in the engage department, it gets a little spotty because you don't want your initial engage necessarily to be the Ornn.
Yep.
But they have quite a few already. They have Syndra pick options there. You can actually just, if you have strong enough vision, what you have in front of you is good enough. So we'll see what they end up going for. Potentially a Jhin as well that's still left up and available.
Yep.
So I think a Tahm Kench would be fine here.
We'll see if they decide to go for that. Of course, they will get last pick of the draft, so might save that support choice for all the way towards the end. And hey, there it is. Almost like this is your job, Raz. Almost like you are both a professional commentator and a coach and know how these drafts work.
Yeah, there's just so many utility AD carries available, and that's not even accounting for the Senna that's still there, right? So, I mean, the Jhin is a strong one, and I think I love the fact that they're holding support for last pick because they do want priority through their bot lane. If you're going to be picking up Ornn, you're expecting that Ornn's going to get shoved in. If you're picking up the Syndra, as strong as she is individually, that's not going to be enough to keep you a sound state of mind. So a strong bot lane is what LGD really needs right now.
Let's see what the last pick of the draft here for the side of V3 will be, though. Also waiting on that very last pick to go for their support. We'll be laning with an Ashe, who is a very proven and powerful laner in her own right, but does need some good setup. Not surprised at all to see this coming in. Oftentimes, Braum is drafted against Ornn just for the sake of blocking the ulti, the power of the Unbreakable at stopping that ram from coming in and throwing everybody up into the air.
Yeah.
Cannot be underestimated. So that one's locked in. Makes sense for Raina.
And I'd love to see a mage support here. I know that the Bard gets locked in. Morgana was another option that would be really good. And this is exactly what you want out of your support counter pick. That's why you hold that for Mark. Mark has been, for me, throughout his career, I mean, if I look at LGD's lineup, veteran, 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 and then Mark's been there for a little bit, right? He's not a rookie per se. He's been there. He was with Dominus earlier on in his career, but he hasn't had the international experience. And so the fact that they're able to have the faith in him and have the faith that they can rely on their bot lane to be their, I guess, priority and like center point of the early game, I think is nice to see. And they're going to need it too, because this is crunch time for LGD. They need these wins.
Yeah, when you're looking at how this all shakes out, remember, group stage here for play-ins, best of one round robin. There's 5 teams in each group, so that means you're playing 4 games. After the first 2 games, LGD has no wins.
Yeah.
And LGD still has to play against the Unicorns of Love, who have been looking pretty good in their first 2 couple of games. I would say out of the 2 games that LGD has remaining, this is the easier of the 2. If they lose here and go 0-3, it's looking pretty sketchy for their chances here in this group, which I don't think anybody was expecting heading into this.
Yeah, and power is out of their hand if they lose this game. Because at the end of the day, head-to-head doesn't decide who moves forward. Because if you're tied, let's just say in a theoretical position where, let's say, Rainbow 7 and LGD are tied for 1-1, and last place kicks you straight out of the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Being tied and head-to-head advantage just means that you get side selection for the tiebreaker.
Right.
So thank God, like that is, you still have that second chance, right?
Yeah.
But LGD needs to get things sorted now. They don't want to be put in that position where they have to claw their way back. And V3, they're tasting blood.
Oh, yes, sir. V3 have the opportunity here to put LGD on death's door and put themselves in a nice spot at the same time. Remember, this team was able to very handedly take down Rainbow 7. Of course, up against Unicorns of Love. Unicorns were steamrolling them there for a while. It got a little, what's the word, wacky towards the end. But overall, I still think we're kind of trying to gauge the power of V3. But you know that these representatives from the LJL want to do their region proud. I remember previously, the last time that we got to see, one of the most memorable things for me from a play-in stage was when the team, Detonation Focus Me was what it was the last time around. And when they were able to make it to the actual knockout stage of play-ins, when they made it out of the group, the clip of the Japanese casters being so excited that they're literally in tears because their team made it that far. The passion of the Japanese League of Legends community and their fans and just how much they want these teams to succeed, I think it's awesome to see.
Yeah, the community is powerful. It really is. And their faith, I don't think, is unfounded because individually these players are exceptional. I love watching Ace, Archer play the game. They're actually fairly high up in the Super Server as well. Grandmasters, I think, both of them.
Ooh.
And Archer, watching how he plays that out, I mean, his Ashe is phenomenal. And I think what we just need is stronger team play, stronger focus on how to play around these objectives. They've been growing throughout the tournament, and adding that one name to their win column would be really nice to see.
Oh, it would be heavenly. But we are on to the Rift right now. You can see everybody just taking their positions at level 1. Keystones on your screen. Nothing's too extreme here. Phase Rush on the Syndra as opposed to a damage-based keystone that you do sometimes see. So going for a more utility-style option there when you're up against a lot of slows on the enemy team, having that extra utility can go a long way.
Yeah, and even, you know, looking across the pond in the sense that Ace on the Zoe going towards Spellbook, I'm always appreciative because there's a lot of utility on the side of, or like CC elements on the side of LGD.
Yeah.
So even just having the option of moving towards Cleanse and then matching Teleport. I mean, theoretically, most Syndras would go TP, but being able to match TP in that scenario, just being able to TP back in lane and not lose out in experience, I think is a smart option here.
Yeah, but talking about teleport, look at the summoner spells of xiye and Kramer both. You mentioned how this is a type of composition that you've got to respect with Cleanse if you're playing against V3, and LGD seem to be in stark agreement with you, sir, as Cleanse has taken on both xiye and Kramer here to avoid some of that CC power. We'll see how much value they can get out of that as we move forward in this game, but there's also a lot of denial ability towards the pick potential of V3 in the ultimates of both the Bard and the Kindred.
Yeah, that makes it going to be really dicey in a lot of these team fights. And it's most of the time going to be which support roams first. That's why I like what LGD has here, where they're going to be playing through their bot side, or at least that they should be. It's going to be easier for Mark to be rotating around with Peanut, to be making plays mostly through mid lane. I think that's where they would want to head out and get xiye in an early advantage. The problem with LGD hasn't been, you know, not getting early leads. They've been getting like 2 to 3K leads in these games.
Yeah.
The problem is just simply how they set up for major objectives. So I'm not concerned about how the early game pans out for this team. It's mostly how the rest of the game does. So team fights are going to be super important. Just taking a look at the jungle pathing here, though. Both junglers have elected to go full clear bot side to full clear top side. I mean, they're just doing bot to top. That just means that we really shouldn't be expecting too much until Cloud Dragon does come up, and then LGD could have their first hit at the Cloud Drake if they do end up slow pushing that bot side wave at that time. So those are the things that I'm kind of looking forward to. I like what I see from Langx because recognizing that the jungler is going to be top side, he doesn't want to get ganked, ends up poking his head out when the wave's starting to crash up against his turret. So like these are things that I think are really nice.
And you mentioned the first Drake, and I want to bring up an interesting piece of information here about V3. This is a team that throughout summer and throughout their performance in their first 2 games here at play-in stage, undefeated with a Drake Soul. If they get the Drake Soul, they do not lose. And because this team is able to prioritize those Drakes and win when they properly do so, that's what I found so interesting about LGD's losses when watching the VODs back and seeing how the loss condition or the point of the game getting away from them was at those Drake fights both times. I think this game will be decided around those mid-game Drake fights, the team fights, the positioning, everything that plays out, the execution will determine who wins this. Because LGD loves to fight around those, and V3 wants Drake to just be what's iconic for them is top side. Longshink's forced to flash away. Good gank coming out of Bugi.
All right, but that does give an opportunity for LGD to set up for the bot side of the map. So like that's the hit that they can go for, as knowing that Bugi is up in top side. But also, I'm okay. Actually, I like the idea. If V3 does want to trade topside for Cloud Dragon, I think that's really good for them. Getting Paz ahead early on is going to benefit them. It makes it so, like, as the game goes on, the Renekton is going to just continuously punish the Ornn matchup, force him to be behind in experience and minions. In fact, it's already pretty bad as it is. That's a nice win condition that V3 can have.
Yeah, if that Renekton gets big and scary in a team fight, yeah, you got to deal with an Ornn here in the side lane. He's going to get tanky. We know what happens once he gets the upgraded Sunfire cape. It's just like trying to beat the snot out of a punching bag over and over again. No real damage. But look at the rest of this team. Raz, a Kindred, a Syndra, a Jhin, a Bard. If that Renekton is fed, nobody can go anywhere near him without being at risk of just being instantly deleted. Now, Mark's clearing out some vision here in the bottom side river. You'll see him be able to pop that ward, grab himself a level. Mark on the bar. This is one of those champions that you really look at players to get a lot of roaming done. Get out there and affect the map. Also having Kramer on the Jhin, who can farm up pretty effectively there with the grenades. So yeah, we'll see how well we track Mark and how much he gets himself all over the rift here as things are proceeding forward. Wants to drop down a little vision in the enemy jungle just to make sure that if Bugi pays a visit down to bottom lane, they're going to know plenty ahead of time.
So what I like about the setup that LGD has towards this bot side of the map is that early base that came through from Kramer worked out well for him. Got an item advantage. At some point, Archer, with no mana, does have to go back to base. and the full control that LGD have towards the bot side means that when they do get an idea of Archer and Raina basing, that they can go for the early dragon and just start looking for dragon stacking. I think that's a good idea for the team. Peanut does elect to go top side though, so let's see if that's worthwhile, because I think this is a really good window to be on dragon.
Look at how fearless Peanut is in this 1v1. He has the Skirmisher Saber completed, which gives him the red smite. Bugi opted to go for strictly stats in terms of his first purchase, as opposed to the jungle item enhancement, so he does not have the extra power of the Summoner spell. But now we might have ourselves a 2v2. Ace takes some damage there in the mid lane, but now we've got more bodies coming down from both sides. Oh, Raz, this could turn into a mess real fast. Mark has shown up. It looks like it's control over the topside river here for LGD. V3 decides they want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, damn it chicken. In fact, LGD even put Kramer towards the top side of the map to secure it. That's the fun thing about LGD, or at least LPL teams in comparison to the rest of the world, is that like the smaller objectives that you feel like are completely, you could dismiss them, you can give them away.
That's just a crab, don't worry about it.
They all in.
Nope, that's a crab, and we ain't giving it up.
Yeah,
that's
they want Peanut to have that advantage early. He's had both Scuttle Crabs now, and so, you know, an early dragon that I thought that LGD have done a great job to secure, to set up, they decided to give it away so Peanut could have the early advantage and experience. So I'm not personally a fan of it.
No, I don't.
It can go a long way if, you know, if Peanut does elect to kind of time like Raptor camps and all that and try and punish Bugi a little more.
You see, Raz, as a jungler, I'm a connoisseur of Scuttle Crabs. I very much enjoy getting as many of them as I am possibly capable of. But trading them away for a Drake, not generally one of the things that I'm subscribing to. Langx trading aggressively here with Paz in the top side, calls in the Ornn horn, but considering Paz gets back underneath the turret, that ulti won't find a whole lot of effect.
Yeah, and they have no idea where Peanut it is as well, so you kind of have to be concerned if Ornn is just heavily trading on you.
Well, won't end up getting the ulti out of Paz. No summoner spells either. He'll go ahead and head back to base now. Vamp Scepter already in his inventory. Shopping up here, should be able to buy the Cutlass. Yep, there it is in the inventory, so just a little bit of extra sustain there. Also having the active means they may be able to facilitate a little bit more power here in the gank if Bugi goes up there. But Bugi is working on that Rift Herald. Remember, we've already only seen one neutral objective go over to the side of V3, working now on their second one. They're down a couple of hundred gold here. A lot of that gold advantage you can see. Mid lane has a small farm advantage. Bottom lane also having about a one-wave advantage. So just a couple of little edges going over to the side of LGD. Turret plates too, as Bugi grabs himself that Rift Herald. 4 minutes to use it. Considering it's not even 9 minutes in, they'll have the entirety of that timer to get turret plate bonuses.
For the YouTube viewers out there, I would love for you to just replay back that, just so you can see the setup that V3 had towards the Rift Herald. It was really smart. They had Archer and Raina just kind of walk through mid lane, and then when the wave was crashing bot side and they knew that Kramer and Mark were not going to contest top side, they sent Archer straight back down and had at least Raina stay a little longer just in case enemy jungle or mid ends up contesting. So like, they had a strong hover from their bot lane to secure Rift Herald for Bugi, and they didn't lose much for it. This is what I've been waiting for throughout the tournament, actually, and I think this is one of the better Rift Herald setups that we've seen. So it's great to be able to see this coming in from V3, so we can praise it.
Very slow early game here from both of these teams. Nearly the 10-minute mark. No deaths on the board just yet. Gold lead still ballooning up a little bit further for the side of LGD. xiye sitting in the bush here, has plenty of those orbs summoned up just in case somebody face checks him, but considering the only person nearby is Mark, doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. The Syndra heads right back into the mid lane to keep that wave pushing out. Zoe with the redemption means Ace isn't too worried about anything here, but Syndra will continue to have priority on the push. Peanut in the top side, running down the lane, might see if he can get involved up here. The Ornn ulti is ready to go yet again. But remember, Paz having the Dominus, having Flash, it does pose a pretty scary situation. Kindred can get bursted if she's not careful.
True, but ultimates from both Kindred and Ornn should secure the kill. I think it was just nice for the, you know, for Peanut to pull back the moment they saw that the control ward was placed down by Renekton. If it hadn't, if he would just mindlessly push in, I actually think that that's a great gank coming in from Peanut. So it's good to at least have him hovered, especially since he's sticking around while they're pushing in. I want to see if that turns into a dive. Lee Sin is nearby, so I don't think it would be successful if he moves into the dive.
They're already looking for it here with the Ornn ulti being used. Langx getting a lot of damage down to Paz. He blows him up! What? Goodbye, sir. No assist required. That's a tank, by the way.
Peanut's like, oh, okay. Oh, you have this? All right, I'm just going to peace out.
The damage of Ornn sometimes, all you got to do is smile and shake your head, man. That champion is insane in the brain. As topside, the Rift Herald is summoned up. Shelly should do her best, knock down a couple of plates here. Nicely used. Ornn ultimate, negating the effect of the Rift Herald. One thing you've always got to be cognizant of, when you're up against a Bard, if he's nearby, even if you don't know if he's nearby, if you don't know where he is at all, he could be nearby. He's going to deprive you of that plate money, stop that Rift Herald from getting his job done.
Yeah, and it's such a consistent thing that he can do that you do have to have a bit of a mini game of tracking where the Bard is. So you don't want to just waste the Rift Herald. That's why a lot of the times when you see a team going up against the Bard, Rift Herald priority drops a little bit. At the end of the day, teams want to prioritize going for Dragon instead, but just take a look at this, because Renekton was actually leaning up in the lane because he knew that Lee Sin was there. He thought that he would be able to have enough time so they can turn on Langx instead, but nah, like, he just gets bopped.
Bonk. Ornn is just a crazy champion. And now with that extra money in his pocket, he'll be feeling just fine in this 1v1. You can see he already has the Bramble Vest to deal with some of the lifesteal of Renekton. And with the ingredients for the Sunfire Cape in inventory, that completion will soon make him that much deadlier in that 1v1 situation. Gold chart on the left side of your screen, 3 out of the top 4 people in the game wearing LGD colors. This team up over 1,000 gold now. The V3, after having secured the first Drake, are making the call to go for the second. It is an Infernal. LGD with players nearby. TP is coming in. Ornn ulti not yet ready to go. Bugi still in the pit, looking to secure the Drake. Peanut's going to move forward. Could be a smite fight. Jhin able to go in with a deadly flourish, and it's stolen away by Peanut. With the Braum already dead, LGD are in a great spot here in this fight. The curtain call shots come through, but they will not chase down an additional kill. Nice fight for LGD.
Yeah, I was scared initially because that was V3 having full setup and having Renekton rotate for the fight. He didn't have teleport. It was actually a TP advantage there for Langx, and so it was a nice initial play from V3 to be there for the objective, because if that's 2 Drakes to nothing, that's insane for LGD that we're literally just playing towards this side of the map non-stop. And so a steal comes there from Kindred. They focus down the Braum. A nice comeback from LGD. They weren't going to give that one up for free.
Paz trading aggressively with Langx here in the top lane. Ornn summoned up. I don't think the communication was right there. At the same time Langx presses R, Peanut starts walking away. Yeah. So Peanut thought the play was over, Langx thought it wasn't, and it ends up being a wasted ulti coming out from the Ornn. Zoe finds sleep onto the Syndra, but with Mark nearby, Ace will not get any follow-up, so not really that big of a deal. Also heals coming in from the Bard med pack there, but yeah, Peanut with the clutch smite steal. Remember yesterday when this team lost against Rainbow 7, Jose Diodo was dead. He had there was no smite, there was no jungle. And Peanut was not dead. So you do have a smite, you do have a jungle. And then Peanut loses the smite fight for the Ocean Soul against an Ezreal auto attack.
Yeah.
So I needed to see the Peanut redemption story here today, and securing that Drake and putting them in a good spot here in the midpoint of this game that's gonna be so critical. That's a good start to that story.
It is. I think so too. And it also comes down to the other Elder Dragon fight that was also pretty butchered when the jungler was dead as well. So they've had a few of those situations that are so basic. That being said, a great setup here from V3 to, like, at least they're trying to push LGD off this turret, but Kindred's just hovering for them. So the idea was sound, recognized that it wasn't possible, and backed away. I think just watching the tournament so far, V3 are a very conservative team. When they see a play that doesn't seem like it's worthwhile, I remember the Elise Renekton game that they had. They didn't want to necessarily go for a top lane dive when it didn't seem like it was like a guaranteed kill. They backed away from it. They had full faith that they would have the team fights later on. They didn't want to butcher a simple play in a best of one environment. That's what I've recognized. So this is another example of that from V3.
Well, LGD are deciding to force down the mid lane tier 1 turret here. That will be the turret picked up for them. First turret of the game, building the lead up to almost 4,000 gold at 15 minutes, Raz. Bugi picking up the blue buff, but now he's going to pay for it with his life. The damage comes through. See ya later. xiye picks up the 3rd kill of the game for LGD.
Maybe stick in the Bard ultimate at that point. I don't know. That's a deadly one. And I love the fact that all of this is happening post 14 minutes, because even though Ashe is electing to stay bot side so they can take the turret, great. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get turret plates for that. I think LGD gets a huge benefit of not only being able to take mid lane turret, which is great for being able to take both sides of the map, by the way.
Yeah.
And then being able to take Rift Herald.
LGD, man, great early advantage here for this team. I didn't get to comment on it earlier when it flashed on the screen, but turret plate comparison when it came up. 2 plates taken by V3, 6 from LGD. So getting a couple more kills worth of gold value just out of their plate presence. Let's take another look at how much damage this Syndra did. Bonk. Oh, you hate to see it, man. He thought he was going to get... I think the last orb was hidden in the trees. It just came spinning at him out of left field, and he didn't know that that other one was still on the way. Oh, it feels bad, man.
Yeah, it's tragic. Especially since they had no idea that Lee Sin was going to be there. He was hunting for a blue buff.
He was the bonus. They came for the blue buff. That was the pinata. Lee Sin was a candy inside, and they just ended up getting the whole kit and caboodle, man. That was just not good stuff for V3. Unfortunate. Next Drake is spawning in under 45 seconds now. We're at 1-1 in the Drake count between the teams.
Take a look at this.
Oh boy.
This is V3 taking another full setup on the Dragon, by the way. Last time LGD stole it, they weren't having the initial control. xiye has to go cross-map from top lane. They have to fight for control. This is a good position from V3.
Bard ulti came through. Flash is going to stop that from doing its job. Curtain call opens up. Raina going to eat the first shot. 2nd one dodge. 3rd one hits. 4th one miss. Now LGD is continuing to press forward. They've got their Ornn ulti ready to go. Kindred also having the ulti. Bottom lane has used theirs. Rift Herald's going to be summoned up back in the jungle just sort of as a distraction, marching over towards the mid lane tier 2, given something else to think about. Ornn gets hit by the Sleepy Trouble bubble, immediately woken up there. However, oh no, it wasn't even woken up. He buffered it with the W. Very nicely done, but now the Drake is going to be started off by V3.
And that's looking.
This team does not want to surrender this objective. There's a ward on it. Peanuts over the wall, looking to come in and steal once again. Nice Braum block onto the Ornn horn. Lamb's respite comes down, back over the wall. Nice kick onto Peanut. He's going to be forced out of the pit, but now the Drake is slain by Archer as they're looking to go even further. Mark falls. It is a 1+ Drake for nothing, and V3 plays the fight wonderfully. They get rid of Peanut, they kick him out of the pit, and then they take the fight to LGD.
V3 is looking like the smarter team of the two. And they have xiye in no man's land. Just take him down.
Oh, Raina goes forward. He tries to get a little bit of a slowdown to set up the play onto xiye, but the rest of the team is not where they need to be in time. Ace gets the Sleepy Trouble bubble. See you later. Archer lives up to his name and puts an arrow through their heart.
3 games in a row, and expectations must be changed of LGD. V3 is taking it to them. It may seem close, and it is, but this is 2 Drakes in a row where it's V3 that gets the setup advantage, and this time they're not going to allow Peanut to just walk into the pit and smite away the dragon.
Yep. Well done there by them, taking advantage of the fact that Kindred places the ulti, and then the ulti's not moving. But Lee Sin can look at Kindred and say, yeah, but you are moving. And then as soon as Kindred is yeeted out of the dragon pit, all of a sudden life becomes very easy, my friend. It was Archer who was able to secure the Drake. It was Archer who managed to get both kills in the fight. And Archer is this rookie player who there's so much pressure on him to perform in these situations. When you've got a composition where you're putting him on this champion that's been so popular in the meta and it's able to do so much and it's a strong laner, you'll want to see him pop off. And hey, 2 free kills in his pocket, fuel for the fire.
Yeah, even in their loss versus Unicorns of Love, Archer for me was a standout in that game. I think Archer has showed the world so far in this tournament that he is an insane AD carry. And if you put resources into that man, he will fly. So V3 should have a lot of confidence. As long as they are together as a team and consistently play the way they have been playing around these Drake fights, that's an Ocean Soul, by the way. Once again, LGD will be put down by the same Drake Soul that a lot of players just say it's a GG sign.
It's so difficult to deal with that when it comes online. But yeah, the individual performances of the players on V3 in that last fight doing what they needed to do at critical moments. The Lee Sin kick on Kindred to knock her out of her own ulti, the Braum shield to block the Ornn ult from initiating a proper fight for LGD. We mentioned how Braum is picked against Ornn for this very exact reason. If nothing, you might not have any other reason to pick Braum, but if they pick Ornn, it can be justifiable just to stop them from getting that teamfight mechanism if it shuts down what their comp does. Now, Langx does have a 2-level advantage over the Renekton, trying to get himself away now. He does manage to grab the blue buff, and although V3 was bringing in backup, that Ornn is just too damn scary, man. He's level 14. He's got the duo of Ornn items, the cornucopia, if you will, of power that this champion just gets for free. Anyone who's not looked up the numbers before, upgrading Sunfire Cape and Abyssal Mask to their Ornn versions gives him over 3,000 gold worth of free stats. He is monstrous right now in this game.
It's insane. And if nothing else, it'll just buy time for the rest of the team. And I think that's what V3 was really concerned about. It was LGD getting control of mid lane, and so they can easily just, you know, walk up towards the top side, support the Ornn in the fight, and they would be in a better position there. Ornn would have put down a lot of damage before the actual fight had begun. So V3 is taking it, recognizing that they don't want to make any more mistakes. They're in a fine position in the game. Even though the gold advantage is there for LGD, they can play for soul point in a minute's time.
Well, we'll see if they're able to secure that priority over the bottom side river as they have in the last 2 points that you already pointed out. 4,500 gold is a pretty intimidating lead, especially with those Ornn items. xiye also having the death cap completed means Langx can go upgrade that. That is generally the item of choice for mages to want to upgrade when Ornn is on their team. So I'm expecting to see that come out. Usually AD carries will want the Molten Edge upgrade of the Infinity Edge, so Kramer still working towards that. Don't expect him to get an upgrade on any of his items because they can't be upgraded, so wouldn't make a whole lot of sense on that one. Mikhail's Crucible, also importantly picked up by Mark. So 2 cleanses, a Bard ult, a Kindred ult, and a Mikhail's Crucible are a lot of things to have to deal with if you're trying to land these initiations onto LGD players.
It's going to be really hard for Archer here in this fight, is the issue. Because even if you do take down Kramer or xiye's cleanse, yeah, you still have to deal with the Mikhails. So really, when the team is asking who is going to engage in this fight, they do not have an answer. It's probably going to have to be Bugi.
Raina caught in a bit of a bad spot here, but now the fight's going to be breaking out. Nice kick coming out from Bugi. Still looking to see if maybe they can engage. Langx's going to be stuck. He's going to be aggroing so much. Lamb's Respite keeping some players alive. Peanut having to run away. Double kill over to xiye, able to make this fight go their way. Paz tries to run, but he's a nice pair of gator skin boots. The ulti comes through, and Archer is in full retreat. This was the moment, 1 Drake to 2, where LGD fell flat on their face in their 2 previous games. This time around, they are standing tall. They will pick up 3 kills for nothing. They'll move on to the Ocean Drake itself. Ace should not be able to contest this one. Drake secured by Peanut.
There we have it. LGD put their full focus overnight on just getting better at dealing with dragon fights. And of course, perfecting a comp where just take a look at Ornn, by the way. This entire fight, even though the triple kill went down towards xiye, Ornn was just dealing with 3 people and making it incredibly difficult for Archer to deal any damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing?
Langx got shot, if you consider each focus fire as 5 shots, because that's what they are, he got shot like 70 times in that team fight, and he's still not dead. He pretty much looks like Swiss cheese, but it does not matter because he's Ornn. Because he's got 2 Ornn items. Because he can just sit in the team fight and take a shower in projectiles. It does not matter. The champion is so incredibly strong. And now LGD with a 5,500 gold lead, with a tied up dragon count, having surpassed the point in the 2 previous games where they lost control, are sitting in a really good spot 25 minutes in. As this Ornn continues to get levels, more items will be upgraded. The Black Cleaver upgrade on Kindred was actually what he went for with his first team upgrade at 14. Now at level 15, should be able to upgrade the hat for the Syndra, or might be waiting until Kramer gets that Infinity Edge to give that one a +1 instead. Mid lane push coming through, but remember, LGD have a 4-to-1 turret advantage. That tier 2 is not even standing.
Yeah, I would have loved Langx to actually give that to the Rabadon's death cap, because there's no AP, like he's the sole AP on LGD squad. He is so far ahead, and the magic resist is non-existent from the side of V3. Like that would just be a Syndra solo carrying a game, essentially. I mean, it's still going to happen once you level up if you're Langx. But for me, that's priority number 1.
Oh, for sure. As soon as they're in the same part of the map, I think it's probably just because he has the second upgrade ready to give.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the fact that they aren't next to each other yet. As soon as they walk next to each other, Ornn needs to give Syndra that Gucci hat because that's going to make such a big difference here in the next team fight. As Paz finds himself in a bad spot. Nice Bard ulti onto 2. Mark looking to set it up. There's your binding spike starting off. Paz on the front lines, but is he tanky? I don't think so. Kramer puts a bullet in his back, and now they're going to keep on chasing. LGD seeing if there's more to acquire here, but they don't even need it. They already killed the enemy top laner. They killed the guy who would be diving in as the front line. And with that threat taken care of, they can do whatever they damn well please. Heading over to the Baron pick.
Yeah, that's what they please, and that's what they want. Baron buff. V3 have lost their identity this game. It feels bad when you have Renekton now just working and following the team as a 5-man when he should be on side lane. Top lane turret is just still up. And so that's a problem when V3 are now trying to play a front-to-back team fight when that's what LGD right now excels at.
Okay, LGD, how are you going to play this Baron fight out? Ornn ulti coming in,
Not
finds
allowed.
the knock up onto Raina, but that is it. Mark goes after the back line, but he is alone. Rest of the team's not next to him. Mark! Mark, no! Mark! Archer gets a killing spree as Mark is just way too far past the rest of the team. xiye using the cleanse to get away from that sleepy trouble bubble, grabbing himself an energy drink, waking up immediately. As V3, they get a pick onto the enemy support. A little bit too hyphy there from Mark. But LGD are still in an all right spot, or are they, Raz? V3 are saying, we saw you get back to the base. We're going after the Baron now. Peanuts over the wall. This could be a big moment. Smite fights like this define games of League of Legends. Baron down to half HP. LGD has arrived. Surely V3 does not go all the way for this.
No way.
They're looking to just blow up Ace, and he's already out of the picture. Now can they find any more? It's the Kindred already down. Peanuts out of the picture. That was a critical error there. Now let's see if they can find anything else off the back of it. V3 kiting away. Langx at half HP. Bugi's over the wall. Bugi has his flash very soon. Might be able to make some sort of a play, but does not have it right now, meaning there's no chance to really do some sort of a flashy kick. They want to get away from the curtain call. Third shot hits Paz. Fourth shot goes into left field. Langx coming around from the side. xiye's there as well, but now Bugi's joining in, able to go for the kick. Looking to start things off. Paz is going to be killed off. xiye's still alive. Double kill over to Kramer. Looking to find even more. Rat-a-tat-tat. Fire the gat. Mark grabs the kill into Bugi. And everybody on V3 is annihilated. A triple kill for Kramer. Get on back into the Baron pit, LGD. Take your prize.
And they're right back to step 1 and claiming that Baron. A wild series of events for both teams, honestly, because it was initially Mark finding himself at the wrong stop.
Oh, hi, Mark.
He was randomly in downtown LA. He's like, wait, I didn't want to go.
Oh, no.
I didn't want to go here. So that really put them in a bad position. But then from V3 side, it was just miscommunication. Honestly, I think this is fine from the Zoe if the team just wants to turn and fight. But instead, they tried to go on Baron at the same time as the Zoe is trying to set up. So they're on completely different chapters, let alone pages. And from this point, I mean, like they're just going to round them up. They're on the wrong side of the map, and LGD can clear them out.
You can see them try to regroup. They know what's coming.
Yeah.
Doom is inbound, but they have to try to do something about it. I like the attempt from Bugi trying to kick xiye into the rest of the team, but the damage just wasn't there. And then, man, Kramer just gets paid over the course of this, and we aren't done yet. Paz goes into the Dominus, as we see a lot of damage down onto Peanut here once more. Pops the Lamb's Respite in time, having to flash away, keeping himself alive. Paz goes down first. Raina on the retreat. Ornn looking to follow up. There's your damage. See you later. Godlike. Kramer, bow down and worship, baby. The man is doing some moves right now. Bugi picks up the kill into Peanut. Everybody just disappears before your eyes like some sort of magic trick. Bugi, the last man standing, but Kramer is spinning that thing around. He does not want this dude on his feet for long. Fourth shot. You are done, my friend. Langx in the mid lane, looking for Ace here. He's the last dude alive on the side of V3. LGD, they gotta be hungry for this first win. I expect them to send it home very, very soon. As that mid lane inhibitor turret falls, mid lane getting shot to pieces. Kramer doing a lot of work here on this Jhin. 8-0 and 5.
10K gold lead here for LGD. Yeah, and they don't want to make any more mistakes, so it's smart from them to just head back to base and set up these matchups. So we didn't get to see the full setup as we come back, and it was just honestly V3 trying to take this fight, thinking that they can get the pick on towards Peanut. Peanut had ultimate. I mean, sure, he gets kicked at the very end of it, but it's just so difficult to take a fight into this team.
And then off to the side, you can see over the wall. Okay, Bugi comes in. He cleans up Kindred. But that is that's a small reward for a real big price, my friend. The price has been paid. LGD has been paid. 4,000 damage dealt by the Syndra, 3,500 by the Jhin in that last fight. I think Bugi's kick healed Langx. If Langx had 3,500 HP, he now has 3,501. It just gave him more health. He's so damn tanky as xiye and Peanut are set up here in the bottom lane, taking down the tier 2 turret. 16-6 your kill score in this game, as now they're marching down, trying to open up their second lane of super minions. Stun down onto Ace, who barely gets himself away there. If that deadly flourish hit, they might have just pulled the go button on that. Volleys fired off by Archer. Baron buffs still around for a couple more seconds. Should be enough to take down this tier 3 turret. And with the inhibitor exposed, I don't see any reason LGD would back away. Not with a lead like this. They might just look to force this one all the way to the Nexus. Both Nexus turrets still at full HP. It would be the only thing V3 could fight on. There's no way you can take a fight in open ground right now on this team. They would need just the perfect setup and for LGD's keyboards to probably not work.
Yeah, that's literally what it comes down to for me. Because I'm struggling to figure out what it would take for this team to take a fight. Here we go.
It's starting off. Ornn summoned up. Braum throws out the shield, but he can't get to the rest of the team in time. Langx's jumping in, finds the knock-up onto the support. Now looking to regroup with the rest of the team as Mark loses half his HP. Langx loses about 200. Not too worried about going any further. Mark still may be in some danger. Langx once again using the Bellows Breath to perfectly buffer away from the sleep. You gotta love that interaction, or hate it if you're the dude trying to CC the Ornn. Over the wall comes Peanut. LGD still looking to maintain their pressure, maintain their position, maintain that advantage, escorting the minion wave into the mid lane. Ace isn't going to find a whole lot there with a paddle star. Langx back up to full HP. Thank you very much. Warmog's armor. Syndra just took off half of Renekton's health. That Syndra is so damn huge this game. LGD get Nexus turret number 1. They're backing away right now. They used some resources in the last fight, and they're feeling like it's time to regroup before going for the jugular.
This is insanely conservative from LGD when literally no one can do damage to Langx.
Yeah.
Any resources you throw at him, he has Warmog's regen as well. So it's just LGD desperately not wanting to throw a game away.
Which I can respect. After their first 2 games, especially after being ahead of Rainbow 7 and then feeling like it was just sort of tossed away from them, I can understand that bit of hesitation and really just wanting to take the sure thing here.
Yeah.
Everybody's already got Ornn items on this squad too. Langx is at 17, which is where you get the last item for your teammates. Bard could get upgraded if he had something to upgrade, but considering he doesn't, it's not going to happen. LGD are just fine without Bard having an Ornn item because they've still got themselves an 11,000 gold lead. All they have to do is bring these super minions to the Nexus turrets, take that last one down. You can see Kramer has 5 out of 6 items complete, and the 6th item slot does have a stopwatch in it, so plenty of outplay potential there. V3 needs a miracle at this point in time. Langx looking to chase down Raina here, but won't find that volcanic eruption to manage to secure any sort of a slow. Drowsy, Bellows Breath. We've seen it happen 3 or 4 times already. Langx knows the play, man.
All right, guess we're just going for Soul.
Let's do it.
V3 right now just needs...
Bugi?
Okay, well...
Bugi, I don't think this is where you need to be, my friend. Ace tries to get away from Kramer, who's in hot pursuit. Meanwhile, it's going to be a 4v4 back in the mid lane instead. Kindred go back to the left, please. I got to see the rest of the fight as Bard's looking to find some CC down into Bugi, looking to get himself away. Dragon secured over by Peanut instead. Paz trying to find some damage down into xiye as Langx going to be stuck in the middle of 3. They finally kill the unkillable. It can be done. Miracles are performed as xiye kites away, trying to find a little bit of damage. Bugi grabbing himself a double kill onto the support and top lane of the enemy team. V3 take a win here, but now what can they get? There's got to be some sort of a reward. You can't just trade the soul for nothing like that. Just for 2 kills, it will not work. Kramer and Peanut, double marksman squad, going after the base now. There are still 4 players left alive on the side of V3. It was a 1 for 2 overall. Ocean Soul also now on the side of LGD. V3, yeah, for the first time in a long time, they got an advantageous kill trade but at what cost? LGD pushing down the tier 2 turret there in the top lane. Arrow makes a beautiful field goal, but unfortunately those aren't worth any points in League of Legends. Paz coming around from behind, running like a bat out of hell. The Gator got his Nikes on as Peanut tries to kite away now, and Paz just bites off more than he can chew. That is a nearly full build Jhin, and you are not in the kind of spot to be able to contest that one. One single shot, 50% of Bugi's health bar, and Ornn has returned. Kill him once, and now he's just the same thing, but he's mad. Peanut shows up, grabs the kill onto Paz, and with the enemy top laner down, we'll see what else LGD is able to find here. Ace loses half his HP. Peanut still burning away here a little bit, could be in danger. Bugi with the sonic wave over the wall, won't find the mark. He wanted to just try to assassinate him there at the very end, as the inhibitor falls again in mid lane. That one had just respawned. Nexus turret under pressure. Lots of damage down there. The Braum will try to block some of it, but it won't matter, man. Raina's gone. Redemption called down there. Lamb's Respite also used just to make sure there's no mistakes coming in now. And the Nexus drops for the first time. LGD take themselves a win here at World 2020 Play-Ins.
And you probably heard it from here. The biggest sigh of relief from Peanut that they do have a win on that column. They took Amazing Device, straightforward team fight comp.
Yes, sir.
There were a lot of moments where you had to be hesitating, because I thought V3 actually played the early portions of the game pretty well around the first few dragons. I thought LGD have a few points that they need to take a lesson on V3. So kudos to V3 in the early portion of the game. But the moment the team fights were starting to etch over towards LGD, xiye was getting massive. It's just way too hard from that point. They're trying to be creative too, so you can give them that.
I got 4 reasons that the LGD won that game. ORNN. The champion just completely smurfed every aspect of the game. From the solo kill on the top side. Yeah, both junglers were hanging out nearby. Renekton's dead on the floor by the time either of them managed to get in the lane, because he wasn't ready for the amount of damage the Ornn did. The fact that he was able to transition into the mid game when he was ahead of Renekton.
Yep.
Compare both of their impacts in the team fights. Paz was there. But when you look at the other side, when you look at Langx constantly tanking 3 people at a time and never dying, his presence, his pressure in that game was just unmatched.
That's when you got to take a second look at the champion, you know what I mean? I feel like impact and how he performed versus Legacy yesterday on that pick, and then also how we were able to see how dominating the Ornn pick was here today, I think we'll be seeing a little bit more in the champion select.
Well, that does it here for us for Game 1. We're going to go ahead and toss it away, but we will be back shortly for more Worlds 2020 Play-Ins. This is your Drive to Victory replay of one of the big moments of the game, defining what happened and how LGD was able to take their win against V3, their first win in the play-ins here in Worlds 2020. The double kill for xiye looking just absolutely beautiful on top of the tanking done by Langx. This is how you get things done and work together as a team.
Yeah, I mean, he could take a bullet. I loved what I saw from him there. Archer, as huge as he was that game, could not move. He could not penetrate that wall.
So difficult to deal with. And now we're going to have to head to yet another break, but we will be right back with more from Worlds 2020 Play-In Stage, sponsored by Spotify.
멀게 된 눈이 멈추지 않아 once we go 내게 넣은 내 모든 뼈 빨리 달려 넌 못 따라와 True damage we do it True damage 보여줄게 뭐든 쉽게 이기든 지든 My crew make the beat No one could stop us they'll try but they won't Nada nos puede parar Oh no we're wide awake now Our eyes are wide open we're running this world we're keeping it turning we're living like giants yeah giants we're bigger than giants we're giants it's not the way we're weak but we're coming right back this time you're gonna see how we do it like that we're living like giants yeah giants we're bigger than giants we're giants oh sleeping giants sleeping
And welcome back to the interview studio here as Rainbow 7 won against LGD, and I have Jose Deodo with me to talk about the game. Thank you very much for joining me. We saw the cam reactions from the players, and you guys looked incredibly happy, but I mean, tell me, how does it feel to defeat the 4th seed of the reigning champion, especially on your first showing at Worlds?
I mean, we feel pretty good about the game itself. Like, we played 2 games pretty bad, and I feel like we could do better that games too. But this game was really important for us because if we lose, we were probably out, and we needed to show that even with the pressure and all in front of us, like it didn't matter, and we just came here to play our game. So I'm really happy that we did our best. And we came here to play and not to be smashed by other teams. So I'm pretty happy, and we're all pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and I'm super happy to see that you managed to bounce back after a bad first performance. So, I mean, it must not be easy to play against a Chinese team as experienced as LGD. So how were you able to turn the tide and capitalize on their mistakes here?
I mean, we as a team are pretty good with pressure. Like, it happened us in playoff too. Like, we were facing other teams that are intended to be better than us, like All Nice too. In finals, we were 0-2. And there are moments like we tend to feel more pressure. It's when we are better. And I feel like that's helped us out a lot in this situation because we feel a lot more comfortable here, like playing like that, because I don't know, we don't have pressure. Like, we're playing against LGD. They are the ones that should be pressure facing us because if they lose, they are like the best team. Like, we can't feel pressure about that. And I feel like that helped us out a lot and really show up like in the game.
I agree, and that was a fantastic performance from you guys. And I mean, as you mentioned, you're not here to feel pressure. The other teams should feel pressured. So tell me, you've been playing since 2017, I think, and how does it feel to finally take your first steps on the world stage and get to play against such players?
I feel really good about that. Like, personally, I've never played against these teams, like these players, like in the jungler, where I always play against the same ones, like in Latin America. And I feel pretty good because I've learned a lot from other junglers. Like, I don't know, it's been incredible for us being here. I learned a lot, and I'm pretty happy. And I'm taking, like, I want to be better than I'm already. So I came here to improve mostly. So I'm pretty happy about the things that we are doing here and improving as a team. So nothing, I'm really happy.
Yeah, I hope you can get the maximum experience from this competition here. And you will have a big challenge coming against Unicorns of Love. We saw them playing earlier. So what do you think about the team and your chances against them?
I think that if we play as this game, it will be a good match. I feel like we can win as long as we do the same as today. And if we manage to like get a good draft and good comms, I think that we should be able to win and get to the best of 5.
Well, explosive game ahead for sure, but for now, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for the interview, Josecito, and good luck against your next opponents.
Thank you.
And back to you guys.
Awesome stuff. Yes, a team is all the more dangerous when they've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Rainbow 7 making it clear that their intentions are just to not get stomped, in Jose Deodo's words. And I mean, it does seem like they've come to play. I mean, Yamato, it's not to be understated, the fact that even, I know it's hard for you to comprehend, but the experience as opposed to the final result, you know, like when you're working out of your region to come here and to see that your league hangs with the rest, that's an achievement in itself.
It's also that, you know, some of the wildcard regions have hung around for a longer period. The LATAM region was established a bit later than the Turkish region or the LCL region in terms of the Russian teams. Like, the Russian teams have a lot of history with Moscow 5 and so forth. And with time, things get better, that experience mounts up.
It really does, yeah. And the LCL has had a multi-year plague of missing the group stage. But this year, UOL are determined to break this curse. And I'll tell you now, UOL have impressed. Some of the individuals have been stomping. They came up short in Game 5 versus Splice, if you rewind it. I mean...
That was against me, actually.
I was going to say, how's your memory? Maybe, Yamato, you're the best one for this one.
Well, it was
against you?
Well... It depends on how far you want to stretch back. Is this referring to last year or was it
the game versus
2016? Because we beat the Unicorns of Love as well to qualify to Worlds in the Game 5. So I guess it's never mind.
Familiar territory though. Clearly familiar territory. Amazing. This has been, this has been the story of the region, the story of the UOL squad.
Yeah, it has been, and it's always one best of 5 or the last best of 5 before Worlds they lose out on, and suddenly they don't make it. And last year especially, it was really heartbreaking because of the fact of how much creativity they brought through to the board, where they suddenly suppressed everyone with their AP bottom picks and the way that they approached the game, where they suddenly played completely different to everyone on the team. And I think that in itself is an accomplishment, but making it to Worlds is obviously what you want to have at the end of the day, not just memories.
That's the goal, yeah. Memories only get you so far, and they haven't qualified to groups since the addition of play-ins, which is something that we have to keep in mind. But what do UOL need to maintain from yesterday to maintain or assume that top spot in the groups?
All of it. Just
everything.
Doing the same, the drafting, the play, the decisiveness, and even if things go wrong, it didn't really seem to shake them.
Yeah.
It seems like they were very aware of their win conditions, and I think the sky is the limit, honestly. They can just continue on the same path.
And if you were like an ignorant Counter-Strike host and you wanted a list of those win conditions, what would be on that list?
I mean, first of all, the draft has to be there. Like, so they need to retain their creativity. So maybe open up for the AP bottom picks. And obviously, the counter picks in mid lane, that's even more important potentially. Then in terms of win conditions in the early game, obviously, like, just make sure that you're going to make plays, going to keep it stable, and then mid to late game facilitate whatever mid and top bringing.
Yeah, mid and top eventually towards that mid game. We'll keep our eyes on that. And we will see who comes out on top as we return for Rainbow 7 versus Unicorns of Love after the break.
That was confusing.
What?
Because I was on Splice.
This group is completely wide open, Medic. It's a good one. And alone on his Orianna, it was those shockwaves, fight after fight after fight, that always landed.